The Salafis, they limit themselves to a specific group of scholars, and if it's the case that a particular scholar or person was to oppose what they say, they kick him off. You can say they kick him off the manhaj. This is what they say sometimes, right? They kick him off the manhaj. They boot him off. We don't like you, get out of the club. We're going to invalidate your pass, right? All that stupidity. The truth is, barakallahu feekum, as for the issue of limiting to a group of scholars, number one is kadhib, and it's iftira, because Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, bifadlillahi ta'ala, nobody connects the people to Ahl al-Ilm like the Salafis, like the people of Sunnah. If you look historically who are the Imams of this religion, the likes of Bin Baz and Uthaymeen and Luhaydan and Hudayan and Muqbil and Ahmad al-Najmi and Abdul Muhsin al-Abat, who in the world, in the Western world, has connected the English-speaking world to those Imams of our time and our era, and Al-Albani, for example? Then the likes of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, not the head of them in the West, بكل صراحة وراحة, in the Maktab al-Salafiyah. Who was it in 96 that had a telelink with Abdul Aziz ibn Baz? It was not Brixton or Luton. It was Maktab al-Salafiyah. Who connected the people to Uthaymeen in 2002 when Sha'dilillah was translating with the Shaykh? It was Maktab al-Salafiyah. Who had telelinks? And I remember them as a boy. If the brothers in East London used to remember, in Sarah Burnell, Shaykh Abdullah Khudayan, in the conferences there, the Shaykh had been hit by a car, had some kind of accident, and still decided to go ahead with the conference. And Shaykh Abu Khadija was translating. Who was there in 96, sitting with Shaykh Ubaid al-Jabiri, translating for the Salafis in the West, when in Birmingham they only numbered 300 or 400 individuals? It's Maktab al-Salafiyah. Who in the world has connected the people like this? Who had the telelinks with Muqbil and introduced them to Muqbil? Al-Imam al-Wadi'i, al-Salafi, al-Athari, al-Muhaddith. When Muqbil sent his students, where did he send them? He sent them to Maktab al-Salafiyah. When Ahmad al-Najmi, when we travel down to Jizan to the south and we sit with the students of the Imam, who do they mention to us? They say, MashaAllah, you're from Britannia. They say, how is Shaykh Abu Idris? And he's not here, alhamdulillah, I don't mind saying it. Embarrass him a little bit, Allah yahfadhu. But that is the truth. When we got to Jizan, they said that Shaykh Ahmad al-Najmi used to call Shaykh Abu Idris and tell him, Ta'al huna, sit to my right. Who was connecting the people for the last 10, 20, 30 years to the Imams of this religion? Who taught the people who Luhaydan is and connected the people to them? It was not the Hizbis, it was not the Takfiris, it was not Brixton, or the Hajuris, or the Ma'rabis and the Harabis. It was not these newcomers, these Abdi come latelys, right? It wasn't. And I don't say that to be racist to a specific group of individuals, just change up a little bit. It's Johnny come lately, right? It wasn't them. It wasn't. You might think it's you now, because you can sit in your bedroom and press a button and get on the YouTube and start talking out your neck. Yeah, sahih. So, the issue that we limit ourselves to a specific group of individuals. Look at the books that are taught. Look at the books that are taught. One of the brothers, one of the Saudi brothers asked, what's the da'wah like in the UK? I said, alhamdulillah, it's Jade, it's alright, alhamdulillah, we've got some, students of knowledge. He said, ma'alakum shuyukh, you ain't got no scholars. I said, alhamdulillah, we have strong students of knowledge. I said, alhamdulillah, we've got lessons in Rahabiyya, in inheritance, and alhamdulillah, Kitab al-Tawheed, and Umdatul Ahkam, and Sahih Bukhari, and Sahih Muslim, and Ibn Kathir. The guy turned around and said, that's not an alim. And I sat there and I paused and I thought to myself, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. I'm not saying that they're ulama, but in terms of the i'tibar of who shuyukh are and the meaning of a shaykh, that he cultivates the people upon the athar, al-salafiyya, al-muhammadiyya, and ilm, and qawa'id, and usul, and deen. If these people are not people of knowledge, not the people of knowledge, who are? Then look at the clarification. Look what has been produced. The translations that have come out. Who translated Usul al-Sunnah and Sharh al-Sunnah? Maktab al-Salafiyah. And their brothers, barakallahu fihim. So, to say that the people of Sunnah in this land, specifically the elders and the Mashayikh Maktab al-Salafiyah, have somehow limited the Western world to a handful of scholars, that's not true. That's not true. And how ignorant are the people? When the scholars, for example, they mentioned the mukthirin, the sahaba that narrate much from the Messenger sallallahu obviously that denotes and dictates as such that there's going to be a limited number. Sahamla? Because these people have many narrations, these people have fewer narrations. When they mention the scholars of tafsir, you don't turn around and say, أخي where's Ibn Athir and Sibawayh, Ashab al-Lugha? Why aren't you mentioning them as well? Because that's not their fun. The same when it comes to the science of jarh wa ta'deel or other than it, every science has its men. And the fact that one alim has knowledge of a particular affair and a particular individual, or criticizes or speaks about a particular affair or a particular land and their circumstance and situation, doesn't mean that with limited knowledge to fulan and alan, he just happens to be the one that the people went back to. And this is the actualization of the statement of Allah Azza wa Jalla. فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. They can't turn around and say, oh, you limit yourselves to hizbis. They say by their own tongues, you limit yourself to certain scholars. But who do you limit yourselves to? Ahl al-bid'ah wa dalal. Ask them who their shuyukh are and who they return back to. And who they praise. It's Muhammad Hassan. It is Hajuri. And the rest of them, Allah Ta'ala musta'an, and there are many. Naam. So this statement that, first of all we limit ourselves, that's not true, akhi. Barakallahu feek. We say, Barakallahu feek, return back to any alim, salafi, mu'tabar in any land, Barakallahu feek. If you find an alim in Pakistan, go back to him, akhi. Barakallahu feek. Labas. You find one in Uganda, Ya Rab. Right? Go back to him as well. Right? But if you do, call me, inshallah. It's kadhib. But what they really intend and desire is really just the principle of like Halabi and Ma'rabi, which is they want an overarching umbrella definition of what the Sunnah is and what Salafi is, to include every single opposer to the madhab of the Salaf other than the actual Salafi. So when you command the good and you forbid the evil, you say, Akhi, no, that's wrong. No, this is correct. No, you shouldn't have done this. No, Shaykh Fulan has criticized this based upon this and this and this and this. They don't like that. So now they say, look, Akhi, you're meaning us. As for this statement of theirs, that the Salaf, Ahl Sunnah, the Salafi, Maktaba Salafi, and those that with them, they abandon the scholars and they only have a handful of individuals. Akhi, the people think that if a person is upon guidance today, that somehow he has some kind of guarantee that he'll remain upon guidance for the rest of his life. Allah Ta'ala musta'an. And it's not the case. It's not the case. And I'll give you a small example. Abdurrahman ibn Muljam Muzakka min al-Faruqi. وَمَا مَنْعُ هَذَا مِنْ قَتْلِ أَبِي تُرَابِي. Right? Abdurrahman ibn Muljam was an individual that was praised by Umar al-Faruq. He wrote to Amr ibn Aas in Misr, wrote a tazkiyah about this man called Abdurrahman ibn Muljam, saying if it was not for your severe need of him, because he was hafid of the book of Allah Azza wa Jalla and he was known for his righteousness and that which he was upon, he said, I would have kept him to myself, but khalas, you can have him. Abdurrahman ibn Muljam. Praised by who? Umar ibn al-Khattab. The man that the Prophet ﷺ said, لو كان نبيا بعد لكان عمر. Had it been the case that there was to be a prophet after me, it would have been Umar. وَمَا مَنَعُ هَذَا مِنْ قَتْلِ أَبِي تُرَابِ. This same despicable individual, Abdurrahman ibn Muljam, was the very same man that killed Ali ibn Abi Talib. Did the praise of Umar save him? Did the people say, Khala akhi, what's wrong with you? Umar praised him. Keep taking from him. Why are you dropping him? So what does it mean? If the people they oppose the method of the Salaf, Wallahi wa Rabbul Kaaba, Ka'inan man kan, whoever he is, if it's the case that the scholars, barakallahu fikum, have advised that so-and-so is not befitting and appropriate, that knowledge should be taken from him, or caution should be made concerning such an individual, at the very least, there are those that are upon, inshallah ta'ala, clarity and they're not upon this path that this person is upon, then what's the blame of Ahl Sunnah returning back to the people of knowledge and taking their criticism based upon knowledge and evidence and justice? There is no blame, akhi. But like I said, they require and they desire for you, ya Sunni, ya Salafi, ya Shab, they want for you this overarching umbrella definition of Sunnah and Salafiyah to include every opposer of the truth except the true Salafi, the Athari. So don't listen to these doubts. Bifadillahi ta'ala. Now, because if you were to look at who they praise and who they associate with, it's all these people. They sit there, the same people that say this, they sit with Abu Usama al-Dhahabi. Ahmad al-Najmi, rahmahullah ta'ala, in 2004, He said about Dhahabi, عَمِلْهُ مَعْمَةَ الْمُبْتَدِعَةِ. Treat him how you treat the rest of Ahl Bid'ah in your land. Done and dusted, akhi. Done and dusted. Why is it even a conversation? Right? And this is why it's important, barakallahu feekum, to study this religion and to worship Allah Azza wa Jalla upon these qawa'id. Because, alhamdulillah, there's no wealth of women between us and these people. It's not personal. Right? Actually, what's between us, bifadlillah ta'ala, is the Quran and the Sunnah. Whoever is with the Quran and the Sunnah and the method of the Salaf, alhamdulillah, he has nothing other than our love and our affection. And whomsoever he opposes that and he is arrogant upon that and he's stubborn upon that, wala karama, right? Then there is no, barakallahu feekum, sanctity that is granted to him, and his mistakes will be clarified in advice to the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and in advice to him to save him from his own utter destruction. Allah save us.